Welcome. My name is Colleen Parsons. This is the Be Connected webinar talking about how you can turn your coaching method into a certification program and create an amazing passive income empire. I know you were able to read that from the title, but I am so excited to introduce you to the Chief Strategist Officer, Ms. Cassie Parks. She's going to tell you about how our white label opportunity could really elevate your coaching method.
Thanks, Colleen. I am so excited to jump into this topic. Just a few housekeeping things. You all are in webinar mode, so you won't be able to raise your hand or talk or do anything like that because we want to keep everybody super focused on this presentation because the ability to really take your coaching method, your special sauce, and turn it into a certification program is really amazing. And so we want to highlight that and then how you can create a recurring revenue from that. So as far as questions go, please just direct those. You can find Colleen on the side and send her a direct message. We're going to keep the chat a little bit quiet so that you can just focus on what we have to say. So send those questions directly to Colleen, and then she will pop on at the end. And if we haven't answered them, she will ask and we will go through those. So welcome to today's webinar. I am Cassie Parks, as Colleen mentioned, and I love this topic because it's fun. I am a coach. I have left my my corporate job 13 years ago and went full-time coaching. I've built a coaching practice, to 6 figures and plus. And I like talking about this and I'm excited to talk about this because if you are a coach who has done this for a while, you've created an amazing method and you might be ready for something new, this is an awesome opportunity for you. It's also awesome if you want to turn your coaching method into an additional revenue stream. So let's jump in. All right. So is this you? This is who this is for. Really is a coach, an expert, somebody who is a coach or an expert, and they're ready to scale their business. So the other person that this is for is the person I just mentioned, somebody who you have been in business for a while. You've created repeatable results. You have a method that works and people get results. And so maybe you're just like, I like one-on-one, but I want something different. So you can scale up and help a bunch more people by certifying coaches who are going to go out there and help people, right? So let's say you could help, 20 people a year or 100 people a year. Let's just use 20 for easy math. If you can help 20 people a year currently by yourself, if you certify 20 coaches, that's 400 people that could be helped with your method. So this is definitely for somebody who's ready to scale, not just monetarily, but their impact on the world. So why create a certification? Because your method has your magic in it. If you've created a method that works, and that means something that you didn't just take from someone else and you've been coaching all these years, but that you took and you created your own method. You realized, if I teach these 5 things in this particular order, that people really get X result. They get a certain result, right? Or they move forward in a part of their life. That's your method. And so you get to take your method out there and again, help more people, which is part of the scaling. And certifying others is a really cool income stream that you can create in your business. And because you've done it, you've done the work, you have worked with clients, you've created a method that works, you've figured out do this instead of that, you can certify others to use your specific method, which again really scales your impact on the world and your wallet. All right. So why do people buy? You may be sitting there going like, would someone buy a coaching certification program that maybe isn't one of the big names that you've heard? Of course they would. And here's why. Someone can take a coaching certification that's sort of big and generic, but they might still not feel credible in the certain niche that they want to teach. So when you take a coaching certification and then you start to build your business, everybody's like, find a niche, find a niche, right? But if they pick a niche that they haven't had a lot of experience in, but they know that's the type of person they want to work with, they can take a certification program and have that instant credibility and authority. So that is awesome. Whether you decide for your certification program, does it come with a little badge? Does it come with a flag that they can add to their website? Whatever shows that they're certified in your program, that adds instant credibility and authority. It also makes the coach feel more confident because they feel like they have this set program to follow. Very often coaching certifications will be sort of general, but then again, when you want to put it to certain people, it can feel a little overwhelming when you come out of those programs and you don't know the exact steps to take, right? People want a proven framework. So even though they might know a lot about coaching, they might have taken over an overall certification, they want something that can be repeatable, that's been proven. And people are looking for a business in a box. Anybody who wants to be a coach is generally looking to have a business, obviously. And they want that to be as simple as possible. So creating a business in a box for somebody, which part of that is certification, makes it easier for them to just go out and get clients instead of trying to create everything, right? They can just implement the system of coaching, create results for people, and gain a lot of momentum in their business. Of course, income potential. Whenever you have that credibility of a certification, you can say, I can teach you this. You are increasing your income potential. People are also looking for community and ongoing support, which is why people buy a certification program, because they want to be surrounded by people who want to teach the same things, who want to coach on the same things as them, and they want some additional support, and you go through a coach certification and then you just go out there. It can feel a little lonely. You don't know what you're going to come up against, right? Because they can't cover everything in any certification program. And so it's always great to have support in that. And that's, why people buy a coaching certification program. And I'm going to tell you the one thing that is not listed on this screen, but is probably the number one reason people actually buy coaching certification programs. There is a mental thing that happens. It is much easier for someone to buy a certification than it is often to invest in themselves for their own coaching. So if someone wants to know more about something, they want to be better, maybe they want to be a better communicator, they can justify a lot easier because of all these reasons. Oh, I'm going to know, I'm going to have more credibility, I'm going to have more income potential. All of these things, it's much easier to justify the spend on a coaching certification so that they can learn something new, they can use it in their business, they can make more money, than it is often to invest in themselves, which is crazy. And why coaches work on that self-worth all the time to be able to just invest something for you. But when people are new and they haven't built that self-worth muscle, absolutely getting a coaching certification so that they can get the information for themselves is huge. I know one of the biggest coach trainers in the world, she always said that people bought for themselves. Most people, a very high percentage didn't even really want to have a business, but they bought the coach certification and they went through the program because they wanted to be able to coach themselves. They wanted to be able to learn. They wanted to be able to change their own life. And it was a lot easier, or they felt like better if they knew everything, they could go get the certification than just hiring a coach. So very often people will buy a certification over your coaching. So this is a great way. If you have had a list for a long time, you have an email list, and maybe your one-on-one coaching or your group coaching has slowed down, offering a certification program is a great way to get new buyers who maybe weren't, they didn't want to invest in the one-on-one, but they'll invest in this certification program. So let's just take this business case. This is actually from my own business. So the certification and license that I would give is the ability to run my Script Your $10 Million Self Future Self workshop. So it's a workshop. It's a 3-day workshop. And this would be really good for coaches who have built an audience and ready to offer something new, or offer their existing and past clients the opportunity to take the next step toward creating the life of their dreams. So maybe somebody is a relationship coach and they've gotten a lot of clients. They've helped a lot of people fix their relationship, but now there's a lot of space in their life. And so they want to create more. They want to create more of their dreams. This is a great add-on to somebody who's created a business like that, that then they can offer something new to their clients. So this offer would be a certification and a license to host the workshops. It'd be a step-by-step guide for leading the workshops, and then business building strategy for filling those workshops. For that, it would be $4,997. So adding that as a revenue stream, which I am planning on doing, you certify 20 people a year, that's almost an additional $100,000 from a certification, right? And then you teach them, but they're really responsible for getting their own clients. They're responsible for going out and serving 20 to 100 people a year, but you give them these tools. My Future Self workshops have years and years of results. They always work. The system works. And so it's a proven framework that I can teach someone else, and they can go out and they can use it on their clients and make more money. And that's really cool, because you might sometimes in the past people say, oh, like just partner with somebody, share things on their list. But this is a way that somebody can leverage their own list, right? They can get certified in something new. They can leverage their own list. So that's just one business case. We'll have a couple coming up. Support always equals more success, right? And so if you can give support in tech, you can offer coaching calls that go with the certification and a community so people don't feel like they're standing on an island. That is going to create more success for those people that you certify. And that support plus those systems really has the potential to increase your monthly income. It creates a residual monthly income. Because the tech struggle is real. Let's face it, stuff is everywhere. Even if people are seasoned coaches, they have tech all over. They have, they're doing certain things. They're trying to use tools to connect them all. But if you make that simple, you can really benefit from that. So if you're going to have a certification, it just makes sense to also give those people that you certify the option to get the tools to win, as you'll teach them how, right? So you can offer a certification course. You can have a little bonus. You don't even have to charge for it, which is a business building course that goes with that certification, just one module on business building. You can teach them to use all of these tools effectively as you have in your business. So a CRM, a calendar, community groups, online courses, and virtual events, right? So you can, we're going to get into this, but you want to help them with a CRM to manage who's coming in, right? To help them create a way for people to come into their world, or a way for them to re-engage people that are on their list to offer them this next level, right? They need a calendar so that people can schedule that. For that case study, it would be a workshop. People can sign up for that. A place where they can create their own community groups of people who are growing. A place, if it's an online course, so there's an online support after the event where they can deliver that. And then, of course, a place to meet virtually. I was surprised. I used Zoom way before the pandemic. And when I started doing my workshops, I was so sure that the in-person, I changed every other month to accommodate all the people who want to take my workshop. I would do one virtually for people so they didn't have to, they didn't have to schedule the time. They didn't have to travel to Colorado. They didn't have that expense. They didn't have to leave their kids for longer. They didn't have to find a dog sitter, all of those things. But if they wanted to, 1 month would be in person and 1 month would be virtual on a virtual conference like this. And I was shocked, after a year of doing it, there was no difference in the success rate. So virtual events are super important because they make it easier for people to say yes to both your certification course and to what people offer after they take your certification course. So this is what we're talking about. This is how you can add a recurring revenue to your certification. So if you're ready to either pivot to this place in your business where you say, I've done one-on-one, I've done group coaching for a while, and I have a system that works, I want to teach other people, that would be a pivot. or you want to add on a revenue source by certifying people, those are both great. However, they generally have the shelf life, or the how long people pay you for that. So they pay you for the certification, right? That's a one-time payment, or if you take payments, but it's a one-time sale. If you offer some support in a community, that goes on, but probably after about a year, people aren't going to, once they get the hang of it, they've done, in that business case that we've used, if they've done, 10 workshops, right? They might not have as many questions. They're going to feel a lot more confident and maybe not need that ongoing support, which is where adding your own tech platform, online tech platform, is amazing, because what you can do is you can offer the tech tools along with the support. And then you can have, after a year, if people just want to continue with the tech support, you're still getting a recurring revenue stream, which you don't have to go out and sell anything else for, because you've given them that, you've taught them the certification, they've gotten certified, you've taught them how to build their business. They're using these tools. They're not going to cancel these tools because they're using them for business. So that's how you create a recurring revenue that truly is a passive income stream, because you don't have to do anything for it. In fact, the system will collect the money, handle the money, and do all that for you. And that is BeeKonnected's white label, which is your brand, your platform, and your profit. So all of these things that we previously talked about that you're going to teach people, which you use in a business if you're online anyway, if you're an online coach, that you've used to build your business, a CRM, a calendar, community groups, online courses, and virtual events, all of those things that you use, you can brand to your brand, make it your platform, which you can profit from, right? And not just profit from one time, but create a true recurring revenue source that you don't have to go out and resell every month, right? That people are going to use because it's a tool, it's not you. So we're going to get into some cool case studies, but I just wanted to show you this again so you can see all these purple arrows point to where it's your platform, it's your logo. So just take a second and think about, what would you call your platform? Take a second. And then I just want to highlight a couple of these. The coolest thing about this platform is going to be the very robust CRM. So currently in BeeKonnected, there's a CRM, but light years ahead is coming the new CRM, which would be included in your tech stack that you can help people build their business with, which will be integrated with Hive AI. It will have Hive AI running all of the automations, running all of the things. Even there will be tools that are available to reach out to your social media. If someone comments on something, you can follow up with them in the CRM with automated AI technology, so that your business and their business is truly working for them all the time. Another look at where your brand goes all over. All right, so let's talk about this next business case, right? So this is a money mindset and manifesting coaching certification, right? This market, it's great for coaches who want to have the ability to offer more tools when it comes to supporting their clients on their money journey. Coaches who want to specialize in money manifesting and money mindset, right? Because a lot of people, once you build that coaching relationship, it's great to be able to offer more tools, right? Once you fix your health, it's great to be able to then work on money with a client. Once you help them fix their relationship or move on, it's great to be able to help them with money or health, whatever you haven't. And so having those tools is great. And so coaches who've already have a great offer are very often looking for additional tools and things that they can offer their clients. Because as a coach, if you're building a business, you put a lot of time, energy, and likely money into building your audience. So you want to leverage that as much as possible. All right. So this market, getting a certification in money mindset and manifesting coaching, this offers very different than the first case study we saw. There's a 4-module self-study course with a certification. So that's $97. you can do so much with certification. You can, have a lower end, you can have a higher end certification, or you could do a 4-week live teaching course, the certification. This person would do that for $1,000 instead of the $100. And they would include a bonus of a business building course. Now, this is based off of real businesses out there. So if they enrolled 5 people in each course a month, that's 10. That's like 2 people a week, right? If you have a business, you're likely doing that. So adding these additional brings in support and additional money from those certifications, right? It's about $5,500 additional just for the certifications. But then if you enroll people in the support and the tech tools, that's an extra $12,000 a year, about $1,000 a month, which is cool, right? Who couldn't use another 12,000? What would you do with that? Take a vacation, help send your kids to college, pay down some debt, whatever you would do with that, that 12,000 would be handy, right? And that's in addition to the 55,000 that you can create by offering the certification, right? Or that this business can create with this certification. But what's really cool about this is if you do this for 5 years, that's almost $60,000 in recurring revenue just from the tools. Now, why is that cool? Because maybe you want to retire in 5 years, right? Maybe you're taking all of this additional money from your certification course and you're investing it. And then in 5 years, you're going to have almost 60,000 of recurring revenue that you don't have to work for anymore. You don't have to show up and support anyone. You don't have to certify anyone. You don't have to coach anyone. Even if you love coaching, freedom is also good, right? The choice to continue coaching, continue certifying people because you have a true passive recurring revenue is amazing. And of course, I just used numbers that were super simple. 5 is not a lot. 5 in each of these courses is not a lot. You could double that. And in 5 years, you could have 120,000 almost. Like 110,000 of recurring revenue, which is the power of creating a certification and adding on your own branded tech stack. Plus, it makes you stand out in a crowded market if you're offering certification. It makes you have more authority and command in your niche when you are certifying people in a method that you know works. All right, so let's talk really quick. I just want to talk about this possibility again. So passive income, which is the dream. It's why a lot of people go into online business, they go into coaching, is it's this dream that it's going to be this passive income. And then sometimes you get in there and you realize that dream isn't a reality because you don't have anything. If you're a really good coach, people often don't need you after a certain point, right? Or they move on, they've gotten to that next level. And you either have to keep creating additional things or they move on. And sometimes even the additional things that you create aren't what someone needs at that time. Because if you're a good coach, they grow and they blossom and they might not need coaching, right? So if you certify people, you add in support and you add in tech, you are creating this beautiful middle space in the circle of passive income, which is truly passive because with the tech stack, you don't have to do anything once you've introduced it to someone and taught them how to use it to leverage their business. Because again, if they are using it for their business, they're going to continue using it. And you don't have to resell it to them. They just keep paying monthly or yearly. Let's look at this certification course. This actually came from liveyourtruth.com. This coach has been teaching Law of Attraction Skills Camp for over 10 years, right? And this would be great for coaches who want to be able to offer more tools when it comes to supporting their clients. Maybe they've learned about Law of Attraction, how to change your thoughts and your beliefs to change your outcomes. And so they're like, I'd like to just sprinkle more of that in, right? Maybe I don't want to teach just that, but I want to know how to help my clients with that once we get past, phase 1 of whatever they're helping them with. So again, this offer DIY video course could be $333, or they can take it live. People could take it live to get certified, an 8-week live group training certification. Now, here's what's cool. This particular coach is already offering Law of Attraction Skills Camp for $333. They're already offering a 8-week live coaching. All they are changing those into is teaching and certification. And so this is a great way to pivot. If you don't want to do the one-on-one anymore, but you have something of value that you've created over 10 years that works, and you want to teach other people how to leverage it to continue that impact and legacy on the world. So again, really small numbers, because I want you to see what big possibility this is. 5 people in each of these courses a month, right? It's around between 5,000 and 5,500. So times 12, that's over $65,000 a year in additional revenue. And again, so once, if people enroll in that support and the tech, you're making an additional about $1,000 a month, and then $12,000 a year. I realized I forgot to get that typo change. It's $11,820 a year of passive residual income. So don't get caught up on the numbers. What I really want you to take away from this, because I'm going to show you something in a second that will help you figure out your numbers. What I want you to take away from this right now is this very real possibility to leverage what you have already done, to leverage the audience that you've already created into a certification course with the BeeKonnected white label tech stack, and create a passive recurring revenue for yourself. All right, so how do you get started? Right there in that button that says Revenue Planner, if you click that document is literally going to walk you through all of these questions to figure out, okay, well, what would I create a certification for in my business, right? And then you can create your own revenue numbers, so you don't have to try and follow my math on the screen. You can say, yeah, I think I could get 5 clients a month, or you're like, I could get 20 clients a month, and you can put that in there. You can put your own dollar amounts in there that you would charge to certify people, whether it's $97 or $999,997, right? You can put your own numbers in there. It's going to walk you through what kind of revenue can you generate from creating a certification course. And then it's going to walk you through that next step of what kind of revenue can you create by not just creating that certification course, but adding in that tech stack that is going to support these people that you're certifying in growing their business and make it easier to offer what you're certifying them in. So click that button. How do you get your own tech stack? It's super simple. So right now, you just pay your $5,000 licensing fee. If you are like, I am in, I know I'm going to do this, just hit that buy now button right now, complete the form, make the payment, and I will be in touch with you next steps for sure, because that is one thing that you get when you are a white label customer here at BeeKonnected. When you say, yes, I want to create my own tech stack, I want to add this to my business, I want to, whether it's create a certification program or whether you're already a business coach, whatever it is, you get all of us, including me, to help with strategy for that. So I will personally be reaching out after you hit that button. Then, so you pay your $5,000 licensing fee, you name your platform, and then you plan your pre-launch, which in this case is very important. So our white label tech stack is being built. We already have the basis of it in BeeKonnected. If you're not a BeeKonnected member, you can grab a free account, play around and see what's already available. But the 2.0 version is going to be so much better. Because it's going to be run by the Hive AI, and the brain of that system will be the amazing CRM that has all these automations, that is driven by the Hive AI, so that it can build things for you. It will be able to take things inbound and outbound with AI and API connects. So it is going to be a very high level system that's going to be amazing. So you want to plan your pre-launch now, because you got to figure out kind of the details of your certification and plan that launch as well. Because if you're using this model that I've presented today, you're going to create your certification, you're going to launch that, then you're going to add either a live or a recorded business building course with that, and just parlay that into using your own tech stack, because in that business building course, you will teach them how to use this tech stack to grow their business. As I already said, you can click that buy now button. The one thing, there are limited spots for early adopters. It's going to be super easy for the people who leverage this, create a certification and turn it into this tech stack recurring revenue in the beginning. Like, anyone can do it at any time, but those who get in first always have that advantage, because they're first, right? They just get a head start. That's just the way it is. The other thing for early adopters is that there's a financial benefit. And that is, if you're an early adopter, the monthly fee that you pay us to run your white label tech stack, that you pay BeeKonnected to run your white label tech stack, is $25 instead of $50 per member. So when you're talking about growing to 1,000 members, right, or 100 members, let's just say 100 members, that's a difference in about $7,500 or $2,500 a year. So it's about a 30% difference for the same work, which is why if you're thinking about it, you definitely want to jump in, grab that revenue planner and start planning it out to see if it makes sense for you, to see how much recurring revenue you can make. And does it make sense with the investment to get started and that licensing fee? You already have the magic. You have created something amazing. And so you can just take it to the next level by making a certification program and offering these recurring revenue tools to your clients, because it benefits them. It benefits those people that take your certification course, because they get the tools, they get the integrated tools. They're going to have the best of the best in business to grow their business and use the certification that they bought from you. And it benefits you because passive recurring revenue is amazing. And so take that audience that you have spent your time, your money, and your energy building, and let's leverage that for the next season. If you have loved this, feel free to share it when the link comes out. If as we were going through, you're like, oh, so-and-so needs to know about this. Julie, Sarah, Lisa, all these people need to know about this because they could use this. Make sure to let them know. Share the link when it comes out. We are also doing a webinar on how to create passive recurring revenue leveraging your podcast in a couple of weeks. So you can click that podcast button, join us then, register, and learn how to create a huge recurring revenue from your podcast, which again is work you're already doing. So let's help you create a recurring revenue stream, so that if you want to not do a podcast or not coach someday, you have that option because you have the freedom created by a recurring revenue stream. Thanks for joining us today, and I'll see you soon.